Hello there my beloved Batties, and welcome to another episode of Truth Behind the Tale, the series where I take a look at some of our most famous fairy tales and delve into their real world historical and cultural origins. And today we're going to be taking a look at Snow White and Rose Red. Just quickly before we begin, if you enjoy this video then please feel free to leave me a like and comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It would be great to have you as part of our little Batty family. Also, don't forget to head on over to my website and sign up for my newsletter so you can get your free starter library and monthly updates sent straight to your inbox. And if you enjoy what I do, then please consider supporting me on Patreon so I can continue to bring you novels, short stories and videos. With that being said, on to the episode. Snow White and Rose Red was most famously collected by the Brothers Grimm, but it didn't appear in the 1812 first edition of their children's and household tales. It didn't actually appear in the anthology at all until the third edition in 1837. And while certainly not unknown in modern times, it's often overshadowed by another Grimm fairy tale, Snow White, but in actuality these two fairy tales have no similarities. The two Snow Whites in the two different fairy tales look absolutely nothing alike, and even though the names are similar, there's a distinct difference in the original German which is usually lost in translations to English. So before we really begin, let's establish the basis of the story. And straight off the bat, we have no poisoned apple, no evil queen, and no 7 dwarfs, though we do have one dwarf. Snow White and Rose Red are sisters, and in many respects polar opposites, though they love each other dearly. And one winter night, a bear comes knocking at the door and asks to be let in to take shelter from the cold. Even though the girls are frightened of him at first, they let him in, and they soon become very good friends, with the bear returning throughout the winter to see them. In the summer, the bear leaves in order to guard his treasure from a wicked dwarf. Shortly thereafter, the girls themselves find a dwarf with his beard stuck in a tree. They help him by cutting his beard, therefore setting him free, but the dwarf only shouts at them and complains about how they have ruined his beautiful beard. Later on, they find the dwarf again when he is slain by the bear, after which the bear turns into a handsome prince and explains that he was actually under an enchantment by the dwarf. The prince then marries Snow White, and his brother marries Rose Red. Now, unlike many Brothers Grimm tales, which have their roots in oral variants which came before the Brothers Grimm actually recorded them, Snow White and Rose Red appears to be the closest to an actual original story in the collection. And the reason why it didn't appear in the 1812 first edition of the anthology is because it didn't actually exist then. Indeed, the earliest known variant of the Snow White and Rose Red story comes from Carolina Stahl, who wrote it down in 1818 in her Fairy Tales and Stories for Children collection. She likely created the story herself, as there are no oral variants from before this time. Hers was called The Ungrateful Dwarf and was shorter than the Brothers Grimm version, but still held a lot of similarities. However, even though this means that Snow White and Rose Red is a very young fairy tale in comparison to others, it does show some similarities to wider folklore, even though the extent of the intention of this can be debated. First of all, let's go back to Carolina Stahl's anthology of fairy tales, because it's interesting to note that in that collection there is very little romance and love mentioned in the stories, even in ones which she retold, which originally contained such an element. But when the Brothers Grimm retold her tale, they added the romantic element of Snow White marrying the prince and Rose Red marrying the prince's brother, which I find rather ironic. The addition of the love story by the Brothers Grimm, however, brings deeper connections. The idea of an animal bridegroom has shown up a few times in various fairy tales and folklores, perhaps most famously in Beauty and the Beast and the Frog Prince, but we can take it back further to the 2nd century AD and the story of Cupid and Psyche. This tells of the goddess Venus, who became jealous of the princess Psyche's beauty, so she sent her son Cupid to curse her to fall in love with a monster. However, Cupid himself falls in love with Psyche and becomes her unseen husband, visiting her secretly at night. And this provides another thread with a completely different Arne Thompson category, Arne Thompson being the index which is most commonly used to categorise fairy tales. Snow White and Rose Red is classified as type 426, the two girls, the bear and the dwarf, but there are also a couple of similarities to type 425A, the search for the lost husband. Two stories in particular which fall into this latter category include White Bear King Valimon and East of the Sun and West of the Moon, which we've already previously touched upon in the Snow Queen episode. In a similar setup to Beauty and the Beast, a girl must go to the home of a creature who is in fact a cursed prince. However, in these variants, the prince is a bear, similar to Snow White and Rose Red. Regardless of its relatively late addition to the fairy tale catalogue, Snow White and Rose Red has been retold and adapted countless times, including by Andrew Lang, who included it in the Blue Fairy book in 1889. In modern times, it's also been referenced in the TV show Once Upon a Time as part of the relationship between Snow White and Red Riding Hood, and it's also been the subject of songs by metal bands Blackbriar and Snow White Blood, both of which are amazing, by the way, and you should definitely check them out. Okay, Batty, so that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for joining me for this episode, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It would be great to have you here, and don't forget to head on over to my website, check out my books, sign up for my newsletter, and join the Batty Brigade. The majority of people who watch my videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so please do hit that button. It really helps me out. The next episode of Truth Behind the Tale will be coming on the last Tuesday of next month, but for now, have a wonderful day, stay safe, and I will see you all again very soon in another video. Bye! And East of the Sun and West of the Moon, which... Can you guys hear my clock? I got a gorgeous Victorian mantle clock for Christmas, which is over there, but it has a very loud tick, so we'll see how this shows up in editing. Thank you so much to my Batty patrons for your love and support, including my phenomenal Batty, Mary Letty Blackrose.